what have you learned over those 3 months that tells you want to keep doing this?
A lot. You know, I would say I think I've learned a lot. I think I always knew I'd want to keep doing it prior to the opportunity, but just the chemistry, the relationship I built, I think it was different as an assistant versus being kind of the guy in the room. So I was building a relationship early on, but it went to another level once I had more of a direct leadership role in the room, and I was pretty caught off guard with probably how connected I became with the players, and I think vice versa.
How much of a just baptism of fire was it for you from going to one day doing what you were doing to suddenly being an assistant, if you follow my drill?
Yeah, I do. You know, there was a lot of things I had to have ready in a hurry, you know, just, you know, more logistically, you know, from, you know, an install standpoint to a first meeting standpoint to how am I going to, you know, communicate corrections and how am I going to make corrections. I mean, there's a lot of logistics that go into it that you never really accounted for. So I had to do that in a hurry, but I had some great help around me, and it went pretty smooth overall. So I can't complain. I would definitely say meeting 1 compared to meeting 30 was a pretty stellar difference. So, but it was a great opportunity, and again, I was surrounded by a lot of good people.
What was it like in meeting 1?
It was great. It was just, you know, again, I think the biggest thing is I wasn't the first time walking in the building. You know, being there for a year and then having 1, the great leadership of the older guys, and 2, having that chemistry and relationship built already. It was just a little non-formal, you know. It was just like, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to be a team. We're going to circle the wagons, and we're in it together. And then I kind of went from there. But again, as a coach, a player to coach, you're still nervous for that first time taking over a room, and the nerves have subsided since then. But yeah, go ahead.
Follow up. Urban Meyer's always talking about how he's evaluating things every single day. Right. And I know that you're growing and you're in your first year doing this, but do you feel like you are in a tryout situation?
Somewhat, of course. I think these guys will tell you the same thing. We kind of earn our badges and we earn our titles daily. So whether you're a player or whether you're a coach, I think you're always trying to justify your position or trying to justify a greater position. So to me, I always had that approach as a player. I think these guys have that approach as players, and I think that that hasn't changed, and I don't think that approach will ever change for me. So again, it's kind of like that same idea. You know, when you're a player, you're maybe trying to start more or get paid more or wherever else, and then once you get it, you're trying to justify it. So as a coach, whether you're trying to earn the opportunity or earn more or have a bigger role or whatever, and then once you get it, you have to, you know, maintain that and justify it. So it's an ongoing process day in and day out, and like I said, you earn your badges and your title daily.
Brian, the way that it was described, that KJ, his one-handed catch, he didn't actually get his head around right or run the route exactly properly. Did he get graded down at all?
No, that was incorrect. I don't know who told you that.
Okay, Dwayne complained they didn't get his head around.
No, Dwayne threw the ball behind him. Bad ball. No, it was great. I mean, to me, KJ does a phenomenal job with body language. He does a great job with really communicating constantly with the quarterbacks on where he's going and how he's going there. And there's very rarely are they off, you know, page. And again, that's a lot to the quarterbacks, a lot of credit to the quarterbacks, and a lot of credit to the players that run with such great body language and communicate constantly through plays where he's going, where he's been, and where he's going to go. So
you know this. Did you practice one-handed catches a lot? Is that a thing that wide receivers do, or do you?
Some do, some don't.
Do your guys now?
No, you know, I think we preach if you can touch it with one, you can grab it with two. So again, I think, you know, we're always constantly working on our eye control, on our ball receiving skills, but again, pre-practice, we catch at least 30 to 50 balls individually. We believe that the muscles are also an eye, and they correlate with the hands. So just like you warm up a hamstring, you warm up your eyes and you warm up your hands. So we've had that approach for the last year and a half or so, and I think it's played dividends.
In the NFL, how many one-handed catches did you make?
Not too many.
But you made some, right?
You know, yeah. I think I was, you know, really focused on getting both hands on the ball.
But I mean, but when you made one, was it out of necessity? I mean, do you remember the moments?
Yeah, I would say that. I was, you know, whatever it took to bring the ball in.
Yeah.
What do you think of the practiced here? I mean, you say All right, Tim, whatever. I mean, is that part of drilling?
I think the emphasis is just, when you're targeted, how many times do you catch the ball? I think that as a receiver, that's how you're graded. I think that's how that doesn't matter how it happens. And I think that in the end, just like the NFL or other places, we really don't care how the bologna's made. We just want to make sure it tastes good. So, in the end, you want to make sure, again, when I throw the ball to KJ Hill, how often is it caught? When I throw the ball to Paris Campbell, how often is it caught? We don't really care why it didn't. We'll fix it, we'll correct it, but the mindset is we make the quarterbacks right, they make us right, and we're in this together. And when we're targeted, we come down with the football.
What did you think of the KJ ball stuck to the hand celebration?
I did not see it till the post game, but it's been addressed.
Is that addressed like, hey, nice celebration? Or
we'll keep that between me and KJ. Keep that between me and KJ.
What was it like the day you got the news that you were going to be the interim wide receivers coach this year?
A little surreal, but to me, I'm looking forward to earning past that. So to me, it was kind of it was an opportunity I wanted to capitalize on. It was not the end role. So.
Is there anything that's like surprised you about being a head coach, or not head coach, but a position coach for the first time? Like, what's?
It's surreal because I'm very passionate about this particular room. So calling Coach Hazel and talking to him and just really thinking back on really thinking I'd ever be, in this position, I think I'd probably laugh at you and kind of, think it's silly, but that just shows you how much I don't take it for granted. I truly come in every day and really when I go home at night, I'm always thinking about how to get these guys better constantly. And when on my way in, I'm always making sure I perform at the highest level because the things I do have ramifications throughout the week. And I just have that approach. I'm not saying that's correct. I'm just saying that, I value every time I have with them and everything I say isn't said lightly. And I think that that's how I would want to be coached, and I try to then relay that to these guys.
What's the best tip? Like move up. You want to be able to do this full time. What do you look as the things you have to do so that you get that opportunity to continue in this role?
I think that again, my direct being in line with both my coordinator and my head coach is my main goal. Trying to provide value to the student athletes in the room constantly and improve them. And I think that really, again, if I just focus on these young men and make them better and keep them healthy and communicate both on and off the field, hopefully the rest will take care of itself.
How much obviously got into this role when some bad things were happening here? How did that impact you? Who you had to replace? Did that have any impact on just some of the dynamics that you had to have in the room?
No, I think no, just because that was probably not a surprise, but realizing how much of a fatherly role you play. These young men leave their homes and they're gone, and in the end, you are kind of playing that role. I'm not replacing anybody, but you play that somewhat of a role when on campus. So I know that, and I truly accept it and cherish it, but in the end, I was just proud that I was here the year before, and I had great relationships with all the guys that were already here and the ones that were coming in. So no real thought to that.
Did you have of the deep end conversation? It's like a logistics conversation with Zach at any point. Like, here's the keys to the office.
No, I think I've communicated with him and talked with him, and that was kind of the it. But and again, I was a guy here for a year trying to pick everyone's brain. So in reality, I was already kind of game planning for what ifs, not here but anywhere. I didn't have that coming as a player, so my full year, along with providing value, was just obviously my personal growth, but also helping the players grow.
From a lifestyle adjustment situation, how much was?
Say it again.
You've leaned on Daryl Hazel?
I talk to him all the time. He's a mentor to me, and again, a lot of times when things come up, I just really think, what would he do? And that's really what I try to emulate, because I know the impact he had on my life, and I'm just trying to be half of that, what he's done for me.
What's the best tip he gave you when you called him?
It really wasn't much of a tip. I just talked with him about the opportunity, and I explained to him how I felt, and he was like, you're going to do great, and he was like, I think it was more of a, hey, I told you so, because he kind of was that guy always telling me, and I was kind of resistant because I know the commitment and I knew what it takes, and really in the end, it's not just a personal commitment; it's a family commitment, and my wife was in for it, and and all that. So there's more that goes into it than just what my personal thoughts are, and he, we illustrated that.
Yeah, I was going to say, from a lifestyle situation, I would think the biggest change is you have to recruit now. I mean, go on the road, etc. Make phone calls deep into the night. Is that the biggest adjustment for going from a a guy who's kind of scheming to a guy who has to?
No, I would say, I mean, anytime, you know, any job description is going to alter. You know, I think anytime, you know, you change roles. I mean, you're going from player to coach to assistant. I mean, anytime, you know, anybody in here would change positions, your job description changes. And it's not a like or love. I mean, in the end, it's just, this is what's required of me, and this is how, and I have to be excellent at what I do. This is part of the job description, and I look forward to doing it. And really, you know, frankly, really prided ourselves on really recruiting quality student athletes. And when I say that, the people that I talk to on the phone, young men that I talk to on the phone, are really quality people. And I'm blessed that, you know, Coach Meyer stresses those kind of individuals. So it's really been an enjoyment, actually, recruiting high school athletes that, again, are great student athletes, great people first, and second, you know, great athletes.
Of all groups on this team, though, could you have inherited a more mature room than you got? I mean, I know there are young guys in there, but when you look at this, 3 of these guys were named captain. You know what I mean?
I mean, in the end, I'm only as good as the people in the room. And as much as I want to come in and try to help and enhance and make things tweaked or this or that, it's only upon the acceptance of these older men. And so for their ability to just continue to pick my brain and want to grow and the thirstiness of wanting to get better and enhance and really, you know, study the game, that's why we've had some improvements. And obviously Coach Day and the quarterbacks playing well and the O-line playing well, all of this goes into it. But from an individual room standpoint, they're complete, rip their chest open and communicate with me and want to get better, and it's been, you know, something that's very, very humbling. So no, it could not have been any kind of a transition like it was if it wasn't for those men.
Is there anything specifically new or different that you've tried to bring to those wide receivers or to this coaching staff?
No, I think just like anything. I mean, you can do, you know, a lot of the same drills all the time, but maybe you just have a different viewpoint on it and a different you know, emphasis, a different point of emphasis, and that's all. And really, you know, a lot of times it's just, you know, the desire both from the coach and the players that it's just never good enough. We're always trying to get better, and if you really think that way, it's uncomfortable, but you know, we believe that here. And even from Coach Meyer challenging, you know, why you do drills and why this week and why, you know, and so I do the same thing to myself and also to the players. And again, the focus has always been never to attack an action or never to attack a result, but always attack an action, because a lot of times just the mindset was wrong, and we'll switch the mindset, and all of a sudden the end result's what you need. So a lot of great communication, a lot of great young men in that room, and I'm blessed to be a part of it.
Brian, thank you so much.
Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
Yep.